So today we're doing something a little different. I'm going to be starting a series where I am using leftovers and creating something else out of it. So the key ingredient for this that we're going to be using is we're going to be using apples. These apples I got, they're looking sad, especially these ones. These are the Lucy Glow apples. They're red on the inside, which is pretty cool. You'll see when I cut them up. And I also got this bitchin' sauce. It's apple pie bitchin' sauce. And this one's open and I need to use it. I'm just going to go ahead and use both. We're going to be making an apple pie overnight oats with protein powder to make it even more satiating. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. I'm going to go ahead and peel these apples, so I want you to see. That's so cool. But I'm going to peel these apples because they're very sad on the outside, and then I'm going to chop them up and throw them in a skillet with the apple pie sauce. So I'm going to be saving some of these apples that look good. So I'm doing the Lucy Glow apples, and I've also got some Pink Lady apples. And the ones that don't look as good, I'm going to peel those and put them into the mixture as well. And then these ones are either going to be used for snacking, or I will chop them up when I eat the oats as a good topper. Alright, so I went ahead and put the apple pie dip and the chopped up Lucy Glow apples in the skillet, and I'm just kind of trying to see if that's enough apples or if I should chop up some more and do like some Pink Lady in there. So I cut up one Pink Lady apple, and I think that should do. So I'm just gonna let this all cook together and cook down. Alright, so while the apples are cooking, we are going to assemble the oats themselves. Normally I would add maple syrup, but since we're doing the apple pie filling, I don't think it's going to need any extra sweetness. So we're going to stick with the normal format I use for my apple oats, which is cinnamon, vanilla, oats, and then a milk of your choice. I'm using the soy one, and I'm also going to be adding protein powder, and I might add a little bit of salt. We'll see. Alright, so we're going to add oats. So that's 6 cups of oats. And I am using the sprouted oats by 1 Degree. And those are the rolled oats. I'm going to add just a little bit, like maybe a half a teaspoon of salt. The apples are sizzling away right now. I might add a little bit of water if needed so it doesn't burn. But so far, it is looking pretty good. Alright, we're going to add 6 teaspoons of cinnamon. I know that sounds like a lot, but trust me, you're going to want it. Cinnamon added, and now we're going to add 6 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now we're going to add some protein powder. I think, let's see here. I'm going to measure this out and see exactly how much protein powder. Okay, we're adding about a whole cup of protein powder. Now we are going to add the liquid. And then we're going to whisk it up and see where the consistency is at. We want it to be relatively, like not thick. We want it to be pretty thin because it is going to, the oats are going to absorb the liquid and expand overnight. All right, and I think that looks pretty good. As you can see, it's like thin, but there is quite a bit of oats in there. But I think that's good. If whenever I heat up my overnight oats, I usually add a splash of milk anyway. But what we're going to do now is we're going to assemble our jars. Alright, and this is our apple pie filling that we made. And now we are basically going to layer it in the jars with the oats. So I put probably like 2 tablespoons of pie filling in the bottom of this. And now I'm going to fill it up with the oat mixture. And then I am going to add another layer of the apple pie filling. There is that. And like so. And then I will finish filling it up. I want to leave a little bit of space, so I'm probably going to go to this lip right here. And there it is. And you can't see the pie filling, but it's in there. So then we will put a lid on this and put it in the fridge overnight. And in the morning, I will slice up a fresh apple and top it with that. And I like to use slivered almonds or sliced almonds as well for some extra crunch. So I've gotten about 6 jars of the apple pie overnight oats. I have a little bit of oats left, but I don't have any more apple pie apples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this in here and try to get any residual sweetness, and I'm going to cut up another apple and add it in, and then just put that in a jar on its own. Alright, so I've got the rest of the oats in here, just trying to soak up all that goodness, and I chopped up about 1/2 of an apple. Now I'm going to put this in a jar and add a little bit more milk. Alright, now we add the milk. And I added a little bit of milk on top of each one of my oats because the goal here is you're going to let this soak and absorb the liquid. And nobody likes a dry oat. So you really want to make sure there is a good amount of liquid on top so that the oats aren't dry poking through the top. Alright, now we're going to cap all these. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all together, which will give me breakfast for a whole week. And it's very, very nutritious and delicious. And it's a really good way to use up things that you need to use up. And this is really why I'm doing this series, because this is the way I normally cook. I have a lot of things and I'm like, well, I got to use this thing, so I have to get creative. And these are my fancy apple pie overnight oats. All right, it is time to eat some of these overnight oats. I'm going to show you guys how I prepare them. All right, so I went ahead and put the oats in a bowl. Now you can eat them cold. You can take them, you can warm them up in the jar. You can take them on the go. This is just how I like to do it. And I cut up about 1/2 an apple. I'm going to top on here. And then I've got some slivered almonds. I'm going to add about a tablespoon there. And then just for pretty, we're going to add some cinnamon, some maple syrup. It doesn't really need it, but it looks so pretty. And there it is. A way to zhuzh up some leftovers and make a whole new meal. Apple pie overnight oats.